Sicily, the largest island in the Mediterranean, and center stage for some of Western history's most significant moments. Rich in resources and natural beauty, the island was a crossroads of Greeks, Romans, French, and Spanish, all playing a part in defining and redefining the identity of Sicily. It's most likely the case that hominids inhabited the island of Sicily for many hundreds of thousands of years, but stone tools from about 20,000 years ago give us the clearest sign of inhabitants. Nevertheless, Sicily's history truly begins taking shape about 10,000 years ago. This is evidenced by beautiful cave art found within the Palermo region, particularly the Adora cave located in Mount Pellegrino. To suggest this region has some of the most intricate prehistory in the world would be an understatement, but the influences of the region appear to be from two distinct peoples, a Proto-Celtic people, and a Mediterranean people. As one of the first identifiable tribes within Sicily, and considered natives of the island, the Sicani developed a distinct culture within the region by 1600 BC. This year is largely disputed, however, as there seems to be no reason for a deviation from a continuous presence from earlier inhabitants, as witnessed by the cave paintings in Mount Pellegrino. This time period from 8000 BC to 1600 BC may have allowed for the natural growth of a Proto-Sicani people, but such speculation is unverified. Much is unknown about these early tribes, but Greek historian Thucydides believed the Sicani to be the first inhabitants of Sicily, descending and migrating from Iberia. He further claimed they took their name from the river Sicano, located in modern-day Spain. By the year 1200 BC, two new tribes had arrived in Sicily, the Siculi, and the Elymians. The Siculi are thought to have come down from mainland Italy, ultimately settling in the eastern portion of the island. The Elymians are thought to have come from modern-day Turkey. The Siculi brought with them an Indo-European language, as opposed to the native Sicani who potentially had a non-Indo-European language, but little is known about them. The mixing of these two groups possibly created what could be considered an early blueprint for the Sicilian language. Between 1100 BC and 1000 BC, the arrival of the Phoenicians marked the introduction of the precursor for our modern-day alphabet. The Phoenicians are also notable for having founded the capital of Palermo. Foreign domination of the island begins in 735 BC with the founding of Greek colonies. These colonies would include Naxos, Syracuse, and Agrigento. These colonies would go on to be a part of Magna Graecia, Latin for Greater Greece. Parts of Sicily as well as southern Italy would become Hellenized, adopting Greek culture, religion, and language. This period also marked the introduction of olives and grapevines to Sicily, making the island a desirable trading region. In 242 BC, the Romans conquered Sicily, making it their first territorial province outside of mainland Italy. Used by the Romans as a granary, Cato designated Sicily as the nation's storehouse, the nurse at whose breast the Roman people are fed. With the Romans also came the introduction of Latin to Sicily. As an agricultural stronghold for the empire, slaves within Sicily were an important part of the economy, but harsh conditions and malnutrition would lead to three slave revolts within the Roman Empire known as the Servile Wars. The third and most famous revolt would be led by Spartacus in mainland Italy, but the first two revolts would strike at the heart of Sicily. In 135 BC, a slave known as Eunice captured the city of Enna with 400 other slaves, and killed all of the town's inhabitants. Word quickly spread across the island and his ranks swelled as high as 200,000 according to Greek historian Diodorus. With such a large host, the slaves were able to capture Agrigento, Enna, Taormina, Messina, and Catania. Rome would fail for 3 years attempting to reclaim their lost territory in Sicily, until 132 BC when they officially put down the revolt for good, culminating in tens of thousands of slaves losing their lives. Despite these uprisings, the 700-year Roman period of Sicily was largely a peaceful and prosperous time for Sicily, which saw a considerable growth in cities under Roman rule. After falling under the control of Germanic tribes, Vandal and Goth, for a short period, Sicily was annexed by the Byzantine Empire in 535 AD. In 965 AD, Arabs took control of the island, only to lose it years later to the descendants of Vikings, known as the Normans. Born in 1095 AD, Roger II was son of Count Roger I of Sicily. Roger I was a Norman nobleman, who came to southern Italy and Sicily on military expeditions against the Arab-controlled regions. By 1090 AD he had conquered the entire island, and by 1091 AD, had conquered Malta as well. In 1112 AD Roger II would assume the title of Count of Sicily, and begin his rise to power. After acquiring titles throughout southern Italy, Pope Honorius II called for an overthrow of Roger. This would lead Roger to give his support for a new pope, Anacletus II. This alliance would prove invaluable. On Christmas Day 1130 AD, Pope Anacletus II would crown Roger the King of Sicily. 1130 AD marked the beginning of the Kingdom of Sicily. During this period, Norman was used as the language of the royal courts, and immigrants from France, Northern Europe, and northern Italy continued the Latinization of the island. Roger II was an ambitious and intelligent statesman, and under his rule the Kingdom of Sicily flourished. Always of an economic mind, Roger inherently understood of Sicily's geographic superiority. With a powerful military, and laws benefiting trade, Palermo became a top trading destination for all of the Mediterranean. As his influence and power grew within the region, Roger would create a powerful navy conquering the Greek island Corfu, parts of the Greek coast, and parts of northern Africa such as Tunisia and Tripoli. On February 26, 1154 AD, Roger died and was buried at the Cathedral of Palermo. Roger as well as the Norman people's influence would be felt for generations to come as they propelled Sicily to a political, religious, and scholarly powerhouse within the Mediterranean. Due to intermarriage, the crown of Sicily passed to the Swabians of Germany for a short period, with the Pope in 1266 AD crowning Charles, a French prince, the King of Sicily. The crown transferring to French ownership did not go over well with the Sicilian populace, and in 1266 AD there was an uprising known as the War of the Sicilian Vespers. Legend tells that a Frenchman was harassing a Sicilian woman, insulted her modesty, and sparked a revolution within the Sicilian populace resulting in an estimated 4,000 Frenchmen killed. It was said death to the French could be heard throughout the streets, as Sicilian men went house to house looking for any Frenchman they could find. As the Sicilian rebels were at odds with the Pope, they requested help from Peter III of Aragon. This period would see Sicily consolidated under the crown of Aragon, and ultimately Spain, for the next 600 years.